I think what we can do is look at the cards. I'm gonna skip the quest. All right, hold on. Let me do like a YouTube intro. Hello, YouTube. Subscribe right now. We're gonna be doing a review of the new cards that are gonna be in the computer game that I play every day of my godforsaken life. So let's go ahead. Is this open on your phone? No. What? No. No. Come on, Zell. Zell, do me a big favor. Don't interrupt me. Alright, so we're going to look at them. I don't really know. First card in the arena review. Bum, bum, bum. Metamorphin. I think this card sucks. I heard some... I'm not giving them scores. I'll give it like a blue star. I'll score them based off of Lucky Charms marshmallows. This is clearly not the red balloon. If you cast a fell spell, like it doesn't matter. Like if you need 2 cards to make this a good card, it's not a 1 mana 3/4. It's not a 2 mana 3/4 probably. It's like a conditional 3/4. Yeah, like there are times it's gonna be good, but it's not gonna be a good card. Like this is not gonna be a good card, right? Give it a fart of approval. I give it a fart of I think it's gonna be not great. Right. At start of your next turn, draw a card and reduces cost by 1. Dreads gave this card like a 0 out of 10. I think this card's great, actually. Your deck is effectively 29 cards, so you're gonna thin your deck. And if you play this on 1 and you draw a 3-drop and you play a 3-drop on turn 2, it's insane. It's only really bad when you're top decking and you need a play, but you draw nothing. Like you draw nothing and then you die. But if you draw a 2-drop or a 4-drop that doesn't have Taunt or Rush, if you draw an 8-drop that doesn't do... Every card's a bad top deck at some point. This card, the upside of this card is really good. This card's going to be very good. I think it's a card you're going to want to draft. We got Fell Barrage. Deal 2 damage to the lowest health enemy. So this can go face, right? So that's a big deal. If your opponent's at 4, you can just kill him. That's a big deal. It can't kill 2 minions, right? So if there's a 5/4 and a 3/3, it's just gonna kill the 3/3 or a 3/2. It's gonna deal 4 to the 3/2, I believe, which makes it kind of funky. But 2 mana deal 2 is a playable card. 2 mana deal 4 is a good card. I think this card's passable, and the times where you get lethal off of it, it's gonna feel really good. And it is a fell spell. That matters. The tags matter. Card is like oil for mana. I understand nothing what my Twitch chat is talking about. I think this card's pretty bad. Oh my god, Zelda. Oh, you need 25 bits, you goon. I was waiting for him to talk. Deal 3 damage to a minion lifesteal. So there's already the Shaman 3 mana deal 4, and that card's not very good. This card is 3 mana deal 5 with Outcast. It has to be Outcast to be good. So if you're not outcasting it, this is not a good card, I don't think. It can't go face. I give this card like not a good score. I give it like a... I don't think it's going to be good. It's just a little bit better. What is that card called? Splash Wave or something? You know the one I'm talking about. Yeah, I-Beam is in the meta, so you can do kind of the same thing for 1 mana. I don't know. I'm not impressed by that card. Lion's Frenzy has attack equal to the number of cards you've drawn. So just keep in mind with this card, it will always have 1 attack, right? Because you're always going to draw a card at the start of your turn, unless you're in fatigue, which case sucks to be you. It's a bad card because you have to draw 2 extra cards before it becomes a playable weapon. Hey, if they're gonna give me money, then hey, you know what? Let's do it. That's your friend Alez. Everybody, like sometimes the YouTube people, they don't know who Alez is. They don't know who Zelda is. But you have to draw 2 extra cards before this becomes a playable card. And how many turns in arena are you gonna? These are all arena scores, by the way. I don't know. They might be good and constructed, but how many turns are you gonna draw 2 extra cards? Let me tell you, not that many. All right, here we go. What's this guy? Fell Gorger. Draw a fell spell, reduces cost by 2. I think this card is very good. Cool art. The thing with this card is 4 mana 4/3 draw a card would be good. We just played a 3 mana 2/3 draw a holy spell, potentially reduce its cost by 2, and that's like those, what are they called? Shaman's got one, Priest has got one. Those are playable cards. This is just a better version of that. A better statted minion and a guaranteed reduction in cost. This is a very good card. You'll see a lot of this card, depending on offering rates. I saw Dreads give this guy a very high score. If you have 2 of them, it's a good card. If you have 3 of them, it's phenomenal. Anything more than 3, and it's probably the best card ever made. That being said, we'll have to see how often it shows up. It being tradable means if you have one on the board and then you draw your other one and you're like, oh darn it, I'm not going to get it, you can just put it back in your deck, then trade it, and then summon it. So tradable, you spend 1 mana to shuffle it back in your deck and draw a different card. I think different. I don't think you can. I hope you can't draw the same card from tradable. That would be a flavor fail. But yeah, if you're pulling 1, it's really good. It's like a souped up. It's like the greatest. I was thinking about it. It's the greatest piloted shredder of all time. If you pull 1, right? A 4 mana 4/3 death rat will pull another piloted shredder, even if it doesn't pull anything else. 4 mana 4/3 summon a 3-drop. It's really good. But it's all going to be dependent on whether or not you get 2 in your deck or 1. So it's the sort of thing where if it's offered against 2 bad cards, I think you should take the chance on it, especially early in the draft, and you'd be like, oh yeah, I might get another one offered. And then if you do, then you could take it over a good card because you're like, this has just become a premium card in my deck. But I don't think you want to take the first one over something like, I don't know, a premium, Expendables, Coil Fang. Obviously, that's, you don't want to ever pass those cards, but something a little in between, you're still probably going to want to take the good card in general. This card's pretty cool too. I saw this one earlier today. 7 mana 6/7 taunt costs 1 less for each card you've drawn, right? So it's always going to be a 6 mana 6/7 taunt. Can't hear my music. Why? Why? Right? So if you can draw more than 1 card, a 5 mana 6/7 taunt is very, very strong. If you can get it any cheaper than 5, it's insane. So I think this is actually a good card. It looks deceptive, I think, at first. The first second I looked at it, I didn't realize that it's always going to be a 6/7 taunt, which I think makes it a reasonable card for 6, right? But anything less, it's going to be great. This from Skull, right? So you have, I think the 2 mana Outcast is still in, Skull of Gul'dan's still in. I think this card's, even without the synergy, it's playable. And that's what makes this card good, is the times you hit the synergy, it's going to be game winning. The times you don't, it's going to allow you to keep playing the game. The legendary you won't see too much. Cast all fell spells. Targets enemies if possible. You'll have to know, I don't know all the spells that are going to be in. You won't see it very often. I'm assuming it's going to be good. Probably game winning, right? You just play that. Like I said, I'm assuming these won't be in Arena. The quests, I hope they are. If they are, I'll make a separate video for them, okay? Sow the Soil. Probably the best 1-drop that's ever been made. I know that seems a little kind of outlandish, but for Arena, I don't know if there's ever been a better 1-drop. Gnarg, maybe. Gnarg, maybe. That's like Gnarg in this. Give your minions +1 attack. Could just mean you're trading up into whatever you can't kill. A Keymaster, a Mage Scribe. I think Mage Scribe's rotating out, but those type of premium minions you have to kill, or you're pushing lethal, or you're pushing a huge advantage. And you also just play it on 1 as a 2/2 Treant, and the Treants matter. The Treants actually matter. There are some Treant synergistic cards, which there's a card coming back that can turn it into a 5/5. I don't know. There's probably some other crap, but this card's great. That card is probably the best card we've seen so far. And moving in that same direction, shuffle 4 acorns into your deck when drawn. Summon a big fat squirrel. It doesn't say that exactly. It doesn't say summon a big fat squirrel, but it kind of does. This is, this is a phenomenal 1-drop. Phenomenal. I think we can maybe see related cards. Can I see the satisfied squirrel? Come on, YouTube wants to see it. Apparently I can't make him any bigger. But yeah, you get a big fat satisfied squirrel. I'm gonna slam this card. I'm gonna slam it. I love cards that shuffle cards into your deck. And this bad boy is getting shuffled into my deck, the big fat squirrels. I love it. It's adorable. Let's see. I don't actually... So some of these cards now I'm not all that familiar with. Give your minions Death Rattle, draw a card. This is a card you probably don't want to go out of your way to draft. It's like Soul of the Forest, these Shaman cards that turn them into totems. You have to already have the board. You have to already be ahead. And then you have to kind of fall a little behind to get value. And in general, I don't think that's super valuable in Arena. There are going to be times where you cast it and you draw 5 cards and you're really happy because your hand's empty. But in general, I think you want to avoid that card. This card, I saw Dread say he didn't think was going to be very good. We'll get into a little bit in a second why this card I think will be very good. But a 2-mana 1/4 is not unplayable. It's not good, but it's probably not getting free traded, right? It's not dying to a coin 3/4. It's not dying to a 2/3. So it's going to stick around. It's going to take a hit and it's going to deal 1 or 2 damage before, you know, the text has any implication. But if you're coining this out and then hero powering the next turn and getting any value out of your hero power, you just played a 2-mana 3/4. Sure, it costs you your coin, but that's a good start. If you're going first, Pounce is in the meta. Not that I want to go out of my way to draft Pounce too much, but it's a thing. But I'm going to go into a minute why I think this card is really good. I think this card is going to be a very strong card. Same with this card also. I think this might be, again, Druid's tearing it up. These Druid cards, I haven't seen all of these. I haven't thought about them too much, but this Druid card's phenomenal. After you play a minion, it costs 2 or less, summon a copy of it. So you can tempo this out. The stats aren't great. It might not live, but if it does, you kind of just win, especially if you're playing 2/2s on turn 4. Imagine playing a Battle Guard, that guy that reduces taunts, summoning 2 of them. I believe they stack. Your next taunt will be reduced by 4. What if you played 2 of those guys? They're reduced by 8. You could play like a Tyrion, I think, on turn 4 or some crap like that. I think you could play Tyrion on turn 4. Now, you're not going to have Tyrion, but you're going to be able to... Whatever taunt that costs 4 or 2 or 6, like, you're going to just dump them out. And then you can just play this on 5, right? So you can play a 3 mana 2/4. After you play a minion that costs 2 or less, you can summon like 2 peons or whatever, right? So now for 5 mana, you're getting a 2/4 and 2 2/3s with upside, and that's kind of like the worst case scenario. And the games where this doesn't get answered right away, it's just gonna snowball. Like this card's really good. You just can't really look at it as a straight 3-drop. You look at it as like a 5-drop that you can play on 3, and then sometimes again just win the game, I think. This card's really good. All the mount cards are sick. Give a minion +4/+2 in rush. Like, you're gonna use this to trade up into a 7-drop with your 3 or 4 drops some of the time. When it dies, summon a Kodo. Can I see the Kodo card? So you get another 4/2 with rush. So it's like you're gonna be able to kill 2 minions, or you're gonna be able to trade and leave a minion on board. I think they're gonna be really good. I mean, everybody kind of is I think on the same page that these mount cards are gonna be very impactful in Arena. How common they are, how strong they are, I think is a bit of a debate. But I think you'd be silly to assume it won't be a premium card at this point. So that 2-drop, I think this is a big contributing factor to why I think that 2-drop is going to be very good. This card is a premium. Like, probably the best card so far. Again, like the Druid seems to be tearing it up. Whenever it attacks, you gain 3 attack. So you coin this out on 3. After playing the 2-drop on 1, you have a 3/4, a 4/4. You free trade their guy. I don't even know, where's the attack going? Like, you just hit him in the face, so it deals 3, or you just, I don't know, you tear up their whole board. You kill their 2 and their 3. This card is nutso. This is the best card probably so far, and most of the best cards are Druid cards, in my opinion. I haven't played with them, but that's the vibe I get. Remember, tradable. Every card that says tradable is going to be a little more valuable, because when this is in your opener and it ruins your curve, you're going to be able to pitch it and then draw another card. Tradable is going to be a very good mechanic for Arena. Not just a high quality mechanic, but we'll also make we'll smooth out games. We'll make it more fun, more interesting. I think tradable is a brilliant mechanic. very akin to cycling in Magic the Gathering, which is a great mechanic there as well. Summon two 7s with taunt. I'd say this is the first card that I'm really not sure exactly where it's gonna fall. 6 mana for two 7s is a lot of stats with taunt. I err on the side that this is gonna be a very good card. Best in Shell, it's a great name, great art. At the very least, you should be drafting it based off the name and the art. So chat, I'm reading chat. The chat thinks it's going to be decent. I think if my choice was really bad or really good, I'd say this card's going to be really good. I think if I get the choice of saying, can you chicken out and say it's going to be decent? I think I'd be like, yeah, I could see this being decent, but I will not be surprised if this card is better than decent. Of all the cards we talked about so far, that one kind of impresses me. This guy here, the next 3 spells you draw are cast when drawn. Not a great arena card because the stats stink. 8 mana 5/5 is basically unplayable. You have to be getting insane value, and you're probably not going to. That being said, I will be drafting this card. For anybody that, you know, appreciates the memes or the fun or the wackiness, survival of the fittest, I don't know, dude. What else is coming back? There's all sorts of crazy stuff. I just want to draft it and see what happens. I don't think it's good. I would say this is probably a terrible card, but I'm looking forward to it. Also, look at this lighting, man. I should probably turn a light on. All right, what is this? Choose an enemy minion. Your minions attack it, then return any that die to your hand. I don't really know how to gauge this card. I looked at it and I thought about it. Choose an enemy minion. I think this card's insane. I think this card's great. I think this card's gonna be really, really good. You push, is this a hunter card? I don't even know what this is. You push all your minions' face, and then you 0 mana kill something with whatever minions you've got, and then you just draw a full hand. They cost 0, so you just play them all. I think this card's phenomenal. Phenomenal? Like, I think this card's phenomenal. This card should cost mana. That's enough for it to have some good potential. The art should be cockroaches instead of rats. No, I'd never draft it. I love the rat theme for the hunter stuff. Hello, Mr. Refugeek. I hope it's okay if we put this up to YouTube. I told them we already did, so they might already be watching it. But now they, you know, past Redbeard's, future Redbeard's paying the bill for past Redbeard's big mouth. But yeah, I didn't really put much thought into that card. But just looking at it right now, I think the card's insane. We'll skip past the quest. After 3, there's already these. Does every class? Not every class has one of these weapons. These kind of like utility weapons that do stuff. After 3 friendly beasts die, draw a beast and give it +1/+1. I don't think that'll be a good arena card. It depends how many of these little rats you can spit out. A lot of the cards spit out little 1/1 rats. I don't think this one's very good. My initial thought is you probably won't have enough beasts that are dead while you're giving up a card. You really, by the time you draw 1 beast, you're probably still behind. You probably have to draw all 3 to get like any value out of this. That means 9 beasts have to die. I'd say this card's awful, like unplayable. Be surprised if it ever does anything. I think this card's really cool. For as long as Hearthstone's been out, to have a card like this that hasn't been made is kind of interesting. Deal 3 damage, so that's face or minion. Your next hero power deals 2. So this card kind of like 5 mana deals 7 for a hunter to your opponent's face. That's pretty nutty. And there's a couple of cards that kind of incentivize you to use your hero power in different ways. I don't know if they'll be in this meta, but this is definitely a cool card to have existed. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, chat or YouTube. I can't talk to chat too well right now, but looking over, I'm getting, you know what I'm gonna do? I feel like this blocking out my light over here. I think this stacks, right? It carries over, so you don't have to use the, that was a great sound. That's much better. You don't have to use it on that turn, right? So you can just save it for the next turn. You don't even have to have all the mana on one turn. I think this card is good. Another one of the mounts. I think this one's better than the Druid one. You can use it the next turn, yeah. So you just carry it over to when you need it or when you have the extra mana floating. So I think that's a good card. To this one here, give a minion +2/+2 and immune when attacking, which is so strong in and of itself. This one's better than the Druid one for sure, and the Druid one is good. So just to put it in perspective, the problem I think with this card, this is going to be a really annoying card to lose to, because it's immune while attacking this ram, And it's a 2 mana 2/2. So it's a 2 mana, it drops a 2 mana 2/2. It drops a shielded mini bot that can't lose its divine shield. At least while it's attacking. So when that card snowballs, like you'll just be dead, right? Your opponent plays a 1-drop, 2-drop, this. They don't lose their 2-drop, and by the time you can kill it, they play another thing that you can't kill. This card's kind of, I think, poorly designed for Arena. Maybe it'll be a constructed playable card. I doubt it, but it'll be a card that'll be really annoying in Arena. Whenever this attacks, give your beast +1/+1 on the board, right? Not on your not in your hand. So this is a really bad card. The stats are bad. You have to already have beasts, which you're not guaranteed to have. Flavor-wise, phenomenal. Stormwind Piper. There's a rat theme. We haven't seen too many rat cards, but there's a rat theme. Wasn't there like a story about the Pied Piper luring rats and children and stuff? Radiohead, Kid A, kind of feel. Not a good card. I'll be surprised if that ever does anything other than lose games. But that being said, 4 mana 2/2, Death Rattle, summon 5 rats. You're gonna be spitting out a lot of rats. You're gonna be spitting out a lot of beasts. I'm a little torn on this card. It's too many stats for me to completely disregard it. And cards like this are kind of deceptive at times, right? Like 4 mana 2/2 is god awful. 2 mana 2/2 would be god awful. Summon 5 rats, right? Maybe, I don't know. Not super sold on the card just because it's so slow. There will certainly be games where you can't kill this, or the game's like kind of even, and then your opponent spits these out and then drops a 5-drop. I guess I'd lean more towards this card being good, but situationally, not like a be-all and end-all. This card's always gonna dunk people. 4 mana 7/7. He's back. Or the original 4 mana 7/7. Speaking of dunking, this card is premium. This is the best hunter card I think so far with the mount or whatever. 5 mana 4/5 tradable. Death Rattle, summon 2 1/1s. Spiders with poisonous and rush. I'm assuming they're beasts. Can I see if they're beasts or not? Let's see the spiderlings. If the spiderlings are beasts, game over. Yeah. Oh dear. Poisonous rush. This is a new entrant. What is it? Nominee for best card in the set, I think. Sick card too. Imported Tarantula. And I got a friend. His name is Tarantula Graham. If he ever passes one of these, I'm disowning him. In light of the 5 mana 11/11 that defeated you today, Redbeard. This is a good natural step. Yeah, I like this though. I mean, this card's broken. This card's broken. But cards like this card's not going to put a lot of pressure on anyone. It's going to clear the board and allow you to do things. If you're already ahead, this card's nutty. You can't trade with it unless you can deal with the spiders right away. But it doesn't put like it's not like Blessing of Authority. It's not like a Pearl Tusk that's an 8/8 rush. It won't end the game that quickly, but it kind of will. But in a different way. It's at least an interesting card, I feel. I do. Let's look at the Rat King. 5 mana 5/5 rush. Oh, I'll be drafting the Rat King. This guy's sick. I'll be making a golden Rat King also. Go dormant. Death Rattle, go dormant, and then revive after 5 minions die. So it's like, I like this rat synergy. 5 minions. Not beasts, just minions. I don't even want to begin to imagine that. I think a lot of these cards are really well designed. Synergistic cards. Speaking of which, the Pied Piper is singing. I like it from a constructed perspective. Constructed? From standard. I think it'll be interesting for them more so. But Arena, when you can, like for a guy like me that likes to try to force the synergies, I think these cards will be really fun. Like, I'm going to try to build the Omega Rat King deck, and you guys might be watching that 2 weeks from now. Omega Rat King deck on YouTube or whatever. Summon 7 1/1 rats. And any that can't fit on the battlefield, go into your hand, +4/+4. I think this card's awesome. I don't know if it's good. I think it's awesome. like expendable performers, but you gotta wait 2 more turns, and then all of your cards they're gonna be 5/5s, and they cost 1, right? I'm assuming you're gonna fill your hand with 1 mana 5/5s. That card's broken. Come on, let's be reasonable. I mean, they're gonna be 1 mana 5/5s. Any one that is your board gonna be full. If you play that 4 mana 2/2 and it's got a death rattle to spit out 5/1/1s, your board's gonna be full of rats. Your hand's gonna be full of gigantic rats, and you're gonna be summoning the Rat King. This card's awesome. It's gonna be so good. All right, here we go. Why do you want to spend 6 mana doing nothing and draw 1 mana 5/5s? Why? Because that means my board's full, my opponent's arse is whooping, then I trade them all off. What if I play it on turn 8, right? Your board's full, you get a handful of 5/5s, you trade off you don't have to have a board full of 1/1s. You have a board full of whatever. You've been playing Arena, right? It's turn 8. And now you just drop 2 mana, you get a 10/10, you have a handful of rats. That card's so sick. They go into your deck. Yeah, no, they go right into your hand. Right into your hand. Sorry, chat. I'm having a discussion with chat. You know, they're not as, they're doing stuff. They're not watching YouTube all the time. Your next fire spell costs 2 less. Terrible. 0. Never play it. Cool art. Should have put Ryu's face on there instead of, this demon or whatever. But yeah, terrible card. Terrible. Deal 2 damage to a minion, add a second flame to your hand. I have to see what a second flame is to know. 1 mana, deal 2. Okay, yeah, I mean that's a fine arena card. Not a card you want to like. Oh my god, but it's gonna be good. It's kind of like those old throw glaive, but you can save it for another turn. Twin slice. It depends how much fire synergy, how much spell synergy you're looking to get, but it's a cool card. I think that I was looking briefly. I think the mage cards are more like constructed oriented. I think they're going to be way more applicable in constructed than in arena. Cards like this. After you spend 5 mana on spells, reduce the cost of a spell in your hand by 5. I would say this is terrible, which it is. Because it's these weapons that do nothing, they're not good. But Puzzle Box of Yogg-Saron is in the meta. So, spending mana on cards and then getting a 5 mana Puzzle Box... I don't know. It could happen. I'm not going to go out of my way, but if it happens, then it happens, right? But I don't think it's a good card. Deal 2 damage, shuffle an ignite into your deck that deals 1 more damage. Is this indefinite? Does anybody know? How does this work? My opinion on this card is bad card. So like I shuffle an ignite that deals 3. And then I have a 2 mana deal 3 that shuffles 1 that deals 4. It stacks indefinite. If it stacks indefinite, this card's okay. The first one's not very good. 2 mana deal 2 is just kind of whatever. I can go face though. I think this card is awesome though. And again, I think from the constructed implications, I think a card like this, you can build a deck around. I hope they're viable. They'll be fun to watch. I probably won't play them, but I got friends that play constructed, and if you can build an ignite deck, I'm going to sit there and watch it. In arena, if you get some card draw, if you discover this from something or generate it, I think this is a good card. Like that old card, Forgotten Torch. It starts a little slower, costs a little less, and Forgotten Torch got a lot better with the first one you drew. If the games go really long, then this card's going to be something you really want to have. I don't think it's a good card, because you can't rely on drawing it, but the games you do will be really fun. So that being said, I think it's a well-designed, fun... I can't wait to draft it and try to see how many ignites I can cast. Pyromancer, your next fire spell has 2 damage increased. I think that's cool. A River Croc with upside, you could play it. Again, I believe this is transferable over turns, right? It doesn't say this turn. So you draw a fire spell 9 turns from now. You might be fireballing somebody for 8 for lethal or whatever. I think that's cool. I think they should make more effects like this. I think. But again, I like when you can, in 2021, make a River Croc for a guy like Redbeard who's played Arena for his whole life, and it's piqued my interest as a 2 mana 2/3. I'd like to see how it plays out, and it's got cool art. So, props to that, man. Tradable, deal 3 to all minions. Cool card. Any card you stack tradable on is going to be more viable than you think, would be my guess. Because when you need it, you burn the whole board. You kill none of your minions. When it's bad for you and your minions die, you just throw it away and you get something else. I think this card is good. I do. I think it's better than Hellfire. I think it's a lot better than Hellfire, which I think it's going to get a lot of comparisons to. But I think it's much better than Hellfire because you can throw it away. After you cast a fire spell, draw a spell. I don't think this, again, this card's going to be dependent on how many fire spells you can get. And I haven't looked at everything in the meta to see what is a fire spell, what's coming back. A 5-mana 4/5, you're paying a price for the body, but you're getting an awesome effect. And pretty much everything we've looked at is a fire spell. And you're drawing a spell. So just put a Yogg-Saron, puzzle box of Yogg-Saron in your deck, draft some fire spells, and go ham. Also, it looks like a crispy chicken nugget. It looks like some honey chicken from Panda Express, and you know how I love that stuff. So I think this card's cool. Pretty cool. We got this clumsy guy. I don't know what he does. Cast the highest cost spell from your hand. Bad card. The stats are too bad. If you're not casting Puzzle Box, it's terrible. If you are casting Puzzle Box, it's phenomenal. 7-mana 4/5 cast Puzzle Box of Yogg-Saron. It's going to win you the game. If you're casting Grand Finale or Deep Freeze, phenomenal. So you really have to be casting something. I guess you could probably go all the way down to 4 or 5 mana and still probably be getting a good deal. But there are going to be times where you've got a Flame Strike in your hand and you don't want to cast it, and you have this in your hand and you got like 2 dead cards. It's like a high risk, high reward, feast or famine type card. It's just, I think it's going to be too unreliable to be a card you want to always take. Not even that great with Deep Freeze. Yeah, but Deep Freeze only hits enemies, right? I believe. I don't even know if I don't know exactly what will be in the meta. It's dependent on what spells are in your hand and what spells are in the meta. But, I mean, a 7-mana 4/5 that summons 2, 3, 6s and freezes one of your, your opponent's face or a minion, like a 50-50 to freeze a minion or do nothing, is still pretty good, especially if your hand's full, especially if there's card draw outlets, which there are. Again, it's all dependent on how viable, how common they are. But there is, like, if your hand's full and you're getting, 8 mana worth of value, or let's say the freeze doesn't matter, and you're getting like 6 or 7 mana worth of value off of the 2 water Ellies, then it's still worth it, I think. This is awesome. I love when they reprint legendaries characters, by the way. If you cast a fire spell on each of your last 3 turns, cast 3 fireballs at random enemies. I don't think this is a good card. It's an 8-mana 6/6. Stats are horrible. Effect is going to be very hard to pull off. And you again, it's another one of those cards. You bet your sweet ass I'm going to take it and I'm going to get it to work. And I'm going to kill somebody with some fireballs. And people in chat are going to be like, why did you draft it? I'm like, shut up. Shut up, Zelda. This card is terrible, but awesome. Awesome. Again, another really cool constructed card, and a card that in Arena, I pray is in Arena. I will make it work at least once. And we move on to Paladin. Here we go. Discover a secret, a weapon, or Divine Shield minion. Great card. Flexible, cheap, holy spell. Silver Sword's in the meta. Just keep that in mind. 1 mana, discover a Silver Sword. I don't know what other spells are going to be in. Silver Sword's coming back. I know that. True Silver is always here. 1 mana, add a true Silver to your hand. Pff, give me that. Divine Shield could get a Tyrion. The secret you're probably never gonna take in Arena. In like the most fringe of situations. This is 99 out of 100 times you're gonna pass the secret, I would guess. It'll help you smooth out your curve. I don't know, again, what other cheap, like, it's really dependent, how good this card's going to be is dependent on how many good cheap Divine Shields, and if there's a good cheap weapon in the pool you want to take. I'm not even sure. I actually haven't even seen all the Paladin cards, so maybe there is one. But, if Minibot was in and you could pay 1 mana on 1 to pick up a Minibot for 2, you'd be very happy. I believe Minibot's rotating out, but I think. Is Initiate going away? What's Initiate? Sorry, I probably shouldn't ask those questions. After friendly minion loses Divine Shield, give minions in your hand +1/+1. So I think of all these stupid kit weapons, I think this is the best one so far. Not good, but if you end up with however many Divine Shields, that effect is good, the cost is good, and the buff is totally relevant. I still don't think it's a good card because it's a 1 mana card you have to pitch and get no value off of some of the time. So I don't think it's a good card, but of these, I think this is the best one so far. Okay, gonna skip the quests. I don't think the quests are in, but I hope they are. Deal 1 damage to all enemy minions with lifesteal. Wasn't that Holy Ripple did this for Priest back in the day? But I think it hit all minions? I don't know, I might be mistaken. It having tradable, again, you tack tradable onto anything, and I think it's going to be a card that you're happy to run in Arena. The effect is... It's certainly impactful in certain board states. The lifesteal makes it a big deal. In a race, you can kill a couple of guys, push some damage, force your opponent to make the trades. It's not working out for you, you just trade it. I don't think it's a bomb or anything, but I think it'll be a card you'll be happy to have a lot of the time. It does not go face, which kind of hurts it. That's all. This mount card. Give a minion +1/+1 and Divine Shield. When it dies, summon a Warhorse. I looked briefly at this card, and I believe this. They don't tell me what a Warhorse is. Does anybody know what a Warhorse is off the top of your head? 2 mana, +1/+1, and give Divine Shield. Spirit Lash? Yeah, Spirit Lash. That's what it was called. It's a 1/1 Divine Shield. This card is phenomenal. This and the Hunter are better than the Druid, and the Druid card is good. 2 mana +1/+1 and Divine Shield is a good card. You're gonna coin a 2/3 and make a 3/4 with Divine Shield. If it's Death Rattle or whatever, when it adds Death Rattle, summon a Warhorse. Does anybody know? Does this add a Death Rattle for Death Rattle synergistic cards? I'm assuming so. It gives it Death Rattle, summon a Warhorse, which does kind of matter. This card's so good. This is so good. Take it. Take it and bash your opponents early. Card's gonna be phenomenal. Draw a minion. Give minions in your hand +1/+1. I'm assuming the card you draw gets the buff, which makes this kind of cool. It's a 3 mana 2/2. I like that they're kind of repositioning some Paladin hand buff cards, and again, they feel more constructed-y. Constructed-y, is that a word? The weapon is you know, probably gonna be hard to pull off in Arena, but not impossible. But probably not a card you want to take. I think this is a playable card, but not super strong, not totally unplayable. When you play this on curve, you're gonna be falling behind. But if you're pulling, you know, you're buffing a handful, 4 or 5 minions, it's gonna be good. But I don't think it's like top tier or anything. 3 mana 1/4 lifesteal. Battlecry, deal damage equal to this minion's attack to an enemy minion. So this is a really cool card. The lifesteal's impactful. 3 mana 1/4 is terrible, but once you give it +1/+1, this card's great. So in combination with that card we just saw, a couple other buffs here or there, you've really got to get it up to 2, which is going to be hard. And if you can get anything above that, this card is silly. Silly. Just a 2/5 lifesteal will be impactful in Arena. Killing a minion or damaging a minion, allowing you to trade a 2 into a 3, will be game changing. Again, cards that are dependent on another card to be good, I'm a little leery to like go bonkers over, but I think it's a well designed card. I think it's fun. It's gonna blow you out sometimes, it's gonna be bad sometimes. But remember, this has to get buffed in your hand before you can get the damage, right? So if you have a Direwolf on the board, you'll be able to actually get the 2 damage. If you have a Raid Leader, which hopefully you don't have, but if you do, you'll be able to get the 2 damage the minute you play it from the Battle Cry. So, it's just something to think about. 3 mana 3/2 lifesteal, can't attack heroes. People were asking me earlier if I thought this card was like broken, one of the best cards. I don't. It's a great Arena card, and it's going to be great at mitigating damage and board presence in the early game. But not being able to go face is a big price. The reason a lot of weapons are so good are because they control the early game, and when you draw them late, you can push 6 damage with a Fiery War Axe, or 3 damage for lethal. It's a good card, a really cool card, but I'm apprehensive to say that it's gonna, be a meta-breaking card or whatever. Definitely a card you want to take. 3 mana 3/2 weapon that you're most likely going to want to be using on minions in the early game anyway is a really strong card. 4 mana 3/5 Divine Shield. Battlecry, gain rush if it has 4. So again, another card that incentivizes you to buff it. There are some hand buff cards that are probably going to be somewhat playable. I think a 4 mana 3/5 Divine Shield is kind of reasonable though. I think this card's really good now that I think about it. We had a 3 mana. Remember there used to be a 3 mana 3/1 Divine Shield, which was alright. We had a 4 mana 5/1, which I believe just rotated out. And that card's way worse than this. 5 health is insane, man. The difference between power and health is humongous. Once you give it rush, it's just game over. If you don't give it, I like this card a lot. I mean, I'm not gonna like losing to it, but I think this card is very good. Very good. I don't know what this does. Divine Shield. I like how much Divine Shield there is. You're gonna, I don't know, I think Aug Merchants are rotating out. Man, these cards are gonna be good. I believe Aug Merchants are rotating out. There's Scholomance or Outland. I don't remember, but they've been around forever. They gotta be going. After friendly minion loses Divine Shield, give a minion in your hand +5/+5. You know, initially looking at this card, like a 6 mana 5/5 Divine Shield is fine. I think that's gonna be reasonable. Not a premium stat line these days, but man, remember it counts itself. This card is nuts. You get 1 buff. This thing is a bonkers. This card is nutty. I like it. I mean, I'm kind of excited about a lot of these cards for Arena. I'm gonna be crying day 1 or day 2. All right, moving on to Priest. Discover a Death Rattle minion. If you have enough mana to play it, trigger its Death Rattle. I'm not entirely sure. I thought about it when it first came out. I'm on the fence of moving it to like pretty good to like really just game breaking. If you're playing it early, you're not gonna trigger its Death Rattle, right? If you're playing it in the mid game, you can pick up a small minion and play it. It's gonna be a weird card, but I think the games you lose to this card are gonna feel wretched. I don't know what Death Rattles they're gonna be. Proto Drake is rotating out, but like if you're playing this on turn 10 and getting like an 8 or a 9 cost Death Rattle and getting a premium Death Rattle effect and then playing that minion, it's just so nutty. It just seems like the floor for this card is so low and the ceiling is so high. You'd have to look at every Death Rattle, and I really do think you're gonna have to play with this a bit. See how often, like how many bad Death Rattles there are. There are some bad Death Rattles that are gonna dilute the pool. It just kind of feels like the sort of card where you're gonna get like a 4 mana 3/2 that summons a 3/2, and you're gonna be like, oh darn, that's not that good. And then other times you're gonna get like, I don't know what, a Proto Drake. I think Proto's rotating out, but you're gonna get a Proto Drake, and you're gonna get a 1 mana 7-drop that discovers a Proto Drake and allows you to play a Proto Drake. I don't know. Maybe I misunderstand the card. But it's kind of, I feel like this is a poorly designed card because I play Arena for a living. I play Hearthstone for a living, and I'm, without thinking hard about it, I don't really know what it does. And when I think hard about it, it's still kind of confusing and it's super random. I would say this is probably my least favorite card of the meta so far. It just feels like, depending on what this card does, I would say this is the first nominee to get nerfed in Constructed, if you can find a way to abuse it in Constructed. I don't know how good Priest will be, but this card just seems flawed. That being said, we'll move on. I think this card is awesome. I saw this. 1 mana, 1 mana Holy Spell, tradable. Again, tradable. Good, great, phenomenal. Trade crap. Get rid of your crap. Get some other good stuff. Silence all enemy minions. All. Goodbye, Arbor Up. Goodbye, Arbor Up. You got buffs, they're gone. You got minions, well, they stink now. Everything's gone. Fuck Arbor Up. I hate Arbor Up. I'm gonna draft this. I'm gonna cast it against every Arbor Up. I think the 7/7 is rotating out as well. I think a lot of stuff is rotating out. So maybe there won't be as many good Death Rattles. The times you, like, remember that 0 mana Silence a card was almost a card you could run in Arena reasonably well. I think a 0 mana Silence a minion was better than Owl, which was 3 mana for a 2/1 that silenced a minion. I think this is better than both of those, because the times you have no silence targets, you just cycle it. And the times where they have 2 things you want to silence, you blow them out, or 7, right? A lot of those Hunter Death Rattle cards, they kind of went away from printing viable silence, and now we get this card, which I feel is really, really good. Hey, Graham, what's up, dude? I think this card's really good. I'm excited to see some applications from it. Both heroes take 1 extra damage from all sources. Weird card. 1 mana, 1/3. You can probably play it and run it. They got the shadow feel. I feel like a lot of that's not going to come together for Priest and Arena, because you're going to have 3 or 4 or 5 other sets that don't really focus on you being in shadow form specifically. But you never know, man. That's the beauty of Arenas. You don't know exactly how these cards are going to play out. Saviors, I think, or Rastakhan has the 2 mana 3/2 that makes your healing effects deal extra damage. I forget what its name is, but there are going to be applications where weird stuff happens from this card, and I think it's interesting. It feels like a mono red card in modern day Magic the Gathering for a Priest deck, which just feels like it should be a Hunter card maybe, which maybe would be too broken if it was a Hunter card. Interesting. I don't think it's a good Arena card. These mutual effects it's not really worth the lack of premium stats, but I think it's an interesting card for sure, and a fun one to have, impacting games. After you cast a shadow spell, deal 1 to all enemies. Again, you're spending 2 mana for a 0/3. I think this one is worse than the Paladin, and better than the other ones we've seen. Better than the Mage, better than the... I don't know what else we saw. There was another stinker. Not a card you probably want to go out of your way to draft. Probably won't be constructed viable either. Not that I'm an expert or anything, but I'd be surprised if these cards are very good. If any hero took damage this turn, draw a shadow spell. That's sick. That is cool. 2 mana 2/3, again with upside. It's flavorful, it's synergistic. You need to have a shadow spell. You're probably gonna have shadow spells. You have to work a little bit for it. This is a really cool card. Great 2-drop, phenomenal. You just put it, you play it. If you can't get the battle cry, whatever. If your shadow spells are like Shadow Word Ruin, I don't know what else are shadow spells, but if you got like, something like this, you're like, oh, I need that card, you can always get it. Oh, I don't want to skip ahead. Oh god, get it out of here. Had a nice order going. After you cast a shadow spell, deal 2 to each hero. I think this card's really cool too, man. I love this shadow form stuff. 3 mana 3/4, stat line is totally viable. Deal 2 to each hero. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's a fine card. Spider Tank with upside. Spider Tank with an effect is definitely something you can run. Sometimes it'll be a little wonky, right? But I don't know. I think that card's cool. So we looked at it already, right? All right, Void Shard. Lifesteal, deal 4. It can go face, right? A good card, not great. If it costs 3, it would be broken, and it would be really, really good. At 4, I think it's good. It being a shadow spell might bump it up, right? Any of the shadow synergies are gonna make it more viable. A cool card. I think it'll be a card you want to draft, and I hope I get to draft this guy. If all the spells in your deck are shadow, enter shadow form. Really cool. I don't even know if that's good. 5 mana 5/6 is fine. I don't know if you're probably not, unless you first pick this or get it very early in your draft. You're gonna want to take Holy Novas. You're gonna want to take Holy Spells, which are very strong, a lot of them. But so help me God, if I get the chance, I'm gonna draft this and draft all the shadow spells. There's a diamond version of this guy. The diamond cards, some of them look alright. That's cool, Any extra cosmetics, you can't really complain. 4/7, the mount card for Priest. Give a minion +4/+7 and taunt when it dies, summon an Elic. I mean, I'm assuming all the mount cards are going to be good. Does anybody want to help me? Do we get to see? Oh, we get to see Zyrella's Elic. So it's a 6 mana 4/7 taunt. Again, I think this one's a little clunkier than the other ones, actually. I think the Paladin one's probably the best for being the cheapest. I think the Hunter one's probably the second best, or maybe the best for being cheap enough and more impactful than the Paladin card at times. I think the Druid one is probably comparable to this. Like, when it's good, it's going to be the best card imaginable. When it's not, it's going to be like clunky. You might not have a minion on board. But if you ever stick this, it costs 7. Like, 7's a big price. But if you ever stick it and then trade your minion, then yeah, you kind of just... Everybody's gonna be doing crazy stuff. So I don't know. But traditionally, this card will win you the game. If you stick this and your opponent has to trade, it's so much stats. It's so many stats. And taunt. And taunt. This card's insane. You'll just win the game. This card's insane. Just this fact that it gives taunt itself is nutty. Hey, Richard, what's up, dude? Moving on to Rogue, my baby. We'll not look at the quests. I was a little confused, but a little bit is the quest lines to play SI7 cards. I thought SI7 Agent was the SI7 card. Apparently, all these cards are SI7 cards. Sparks, thanks for the follow, man. Deal 3 damage to an undamaged character for 1. Tradable, phenomenal. You're never gonna hit your opponent's face, so it doesn't really go face. You're not bringing a 30 health opponent to 27. So it's 1 damage, 1 mana, deal 3 damage to an undamaged minion is what it really reads in Arena. Very good card. Anything that says tradable is gonna be good. Deal 3 to an undamaged character. 1 mana, kill your opponent's 3-drop. It's really good. This card's great. That'll be a great card. Garrett, deal 2 to the enemy hero, shuffle 3 bleeds into your opponent's deck to deal 2 when drawn. Anything that just goes face. If this could hit a minion and then add the bleeds to your opponent's deck, it'd be a lot more viable. It's a bad card. Deal 2 to the enemy hero, just as like 2 mana, discard a card, skip your turn, waste 2 mana. There will be games where your opponent throws 2 of these into your face and then kills you, but more often than not, this card won't be good for you. I think it's a cool card, though. Again, all these cards that shuffle something into your deck are going to be interesting. And you never know. Maybe you discover it. You don't want to draft it, but maybe you discover it, throw some damage, and maybe it works for your deck. You build an aggressive deck. If you can get about 4 of these drafted, then it might be viable. So your opponent just dies, and you don't do anything but go face. Not a good card. Chat was pumped on this. We were talking about it in Discord. You start the game as a different class until you play a rogue card, and I'm assuming that's just random. I don't think this card is good. I don't think this card is that interesting. I'm not really sure what's so juicy or yummy or amazing about this card. Your discover pool will be different, I guess. Your hero power, I'm assuming, will be different, but all the cards in my deck will be the same. It's interesting, I guess, in that way that it does something unique that no other cards do, but I don't think this is a good arena card. I don't want to spend too much time on it because I don't know. Different hero power, okay. I mean, what good is that? This is just if it's in my deck, so I don't even have to draw it. I guess that's kind of cool, but I don't know. I think this is more. It's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting, but I don't think it's going to be good. However, Loan Shark, great, great little wordplay there. Nice art. Battlecry, give your opponent a coin. Death Rattle, you get 2. I would put this in the category of I'm not exactly sure how good this is going to be. I would not be surprised if this is better than my initial thumbs down and a fart sound go. You get 2 coins. It's gotta be decent, right? No. Your opponent getting coins is a horrific for you. You getting 2 coins though. If you can utilize the spells, you're gonna have to be coining out something really good. I have no idea exactly what to think about this card. My thought is it's bad because it says give your opponent the coin. My next level thought, because I'm a professional, I gotta help you guys out a little. On day 1 or day 2, is if you're going first, this card's probably gonna be really good. At times, more often than not, this card's probably gonna be good. If you're going second, it's probably gonna be really bad, and you probably can't play it. Would be my guess. It's like it probably magnifies that gap of between going first and second. Love the card art. Yeah, the card art's beautiful. I will have a golden Loan Shark. You bet your sweet butts. Let's see. What does this guy do? 3 mana, 2/4 rush. After this attacks a minion, gains stealth. Stats aren't great. The effect is pretty good. It just has to attack a minion and not kill it, which makes it a little better. The stats aren't good enough to make me think it's going to be a strong arena card, but again, It's 2021. We made a new 3-drop that does something that no other card technically has done like this thing. So cool. Big ups for that. Is there a card that incentivizes playing those outside of the quest? Maybe. Draw a Death Rattle card that costs 4 or less and trigger its Death Rattle. I think this card will be good. It depends, again. If you have, you know, a 1-drop Death Rattle, a 2-drop Death Rattle, a 3-drop Death Rattle, and a 4-drop Death Rattle in your deck, you're going to have a good effect like 50% of the time. Drawing a card and getting the Death Rattle. It's like... I don't think this is a good card. You have to know exactly what Death Rattles you're going to get. It's going to skew the way you draft. It's going to steer you away from good Death Rattles or good cards with bad Death Rattles, like the 4-mana 5/7 that deals 5 to you, which will basically be unplayable to spend 3 to draw a card and take 5. I don't think this card will be good. Interesting. Cool. Compared to the Priest card, lets you discover a Death Rattle and trigger it. Somebody mentioned, and I agree, I don't understand the discrepancy between these two cards. I think Fixamole was talking about this. The discrepancy between those two cards in Arena is dramatic. In Constructed, if you're pulling like a specific combo Death Rattle, I could see it. But in Arena, like, this card will be bad, and the other card will be broken a lot of the time, I think. So, kind of disappointing that there's such a big gap between those. Gain a random friendly Death Rattle that triggered this game. This card's good, I think. You get any value off of this. The weapon's great. A 4-mana 4/2 is playable weapon. Once you stack some Death Rattles on there, it gets good. Depends again what you're getting. If you have a bad Death Rattle, yeah, don't do that. But you know, the Ticketmaster's in, so it has to have already triggered, which is a little awkward. But I'm sure this card will be fine, and other times it'll be really, really good. I'm not sure, but I think seems really cool. Yeah, it's a cool card. I think it'll be really strong. Gain +1/+1 for each SI7 card you played. Okay, so there is a payoff. So some of those cards do get incrementally better if you've got 2 of these in your deck. I don't think it's a good card because it's a 4-mana 3/3, and you're gonna have to draft a lot of SI7s. Again, more of a constructed card. The times where it works out in Arena will be cool and unique, but you've got to have played 2 for it to be good, in which case if you've played 2 early, it's phenomenal. If you're playing this on 5 or 6 or 7 as a 5/5, it gets incrementally worse, but still good. And if you're playing it on turn 10 with an empty hand and you're playing a 4-mana 6/6, you're really playing a 10-mana 6/6, so I don't think this is a good card. But the games where, you know, this goes off, it's going to be cool. It's a lot of cards like that. And the interesting thing about that, I think, is it's going to prolong a lot of games where there's a lot of cards that are going to be in the pool that just aren't that impactful unless you built a synergistic deck and you've had a fortuitous draw. Or none of those cards are going to get picked, and when you pick them, you're going to get steamrolled, which is maybe more likely. But, well, we'll see. This card is phenomenal. Oh, I saw this card. I didn't even think about it. I saw it, and I read, like, I didn't think about it, but I read it. This card's it, right? 7-mana 4/4. Oh, God, awful. Costs 1 less for each one of those SI7 cards you played. Oh, okay. So you get this out for 6, 5, 4? Well, what does it do, though? Destroy an enemy minion. You don't have to reduce this for it to be a playable card, I don't think. It's a combo. It's a combo. Okay, maybe you gotta reduce it 1 or 2. If you reduce this to like 5 mana, it's just a Vile Spine Slayer, right? It's a bigger Vile Spine. If you can get this down to 5, SI7 Agent is still in the pool, so you can just draft that guy. For 7, it's tough. It's tough to combo. For 6, I think it's a good card. For 5, I think it's broken. It just depends how much you can reduce it. If you get it for anything less than 5, this card is going to be awesome. Awesome. I like it a lot. Good brew target. I like it. I'm going to kill something with that. I promise you that. Here we go. Over to Shaman. How many more classes do we have? Draw an Overload card. It's like that old Discover an Overload card that doesn't, but it doesn't overload you. So this is better than that. It's a 7-mana Vile Spine. It'll be less than 7. It'll be less than 7. I mean, some of the time, again, you're gonna have to, and they're gonna do a drinking game of how many times I say again, and they're gonna die. Like this video right now if you're about to pass out. This card's cool. It's fine. We'll have to see what overload cards they got for us. Tradable, unlock your overloaded mana crystals and deal that much damage. Oh, I didn't think about that card. Nice art. Overdraft. Anything with tradable, it's going to be playable. I really firmly believe that. Deal that much damage. So, if you build a deck that's overload, this card is premium. I just don't think you're going to be able to rely on that much, but having tradable makes this far more viable. I think it'll be a good card. I think it'll be a card you draft. All right, let me reassess. I don't think you want to draft it, but when you draft it, it's good. It's going to be fun because it does kind of nothing if you're not overloaded. It should deal like 1. Maybe it would be too good, but if it could deal 1, even ping off a divine shield and then deal 1 plus your overloaded mana crystals, it'd be really cool. But there are times where this is going to be 1 mana deal 5 after you played a, you know, an Earth Ellie and a Lightning Storm, and your opponent's going to be like, well, that's not fair. So, well designed. Well designed for constructed. We'll see where it falls for Arena. After your attacks, reduce the cost of a Battlecry minion in your hand by 1. Great. Phenomenal. Not phenomenal. Really strong. If you're reducing Battlecries, this card's phenomenal. If it's just a 2-mana 2/2 weapon, I think it's still playable. You can play that. You're always going to want to run cheap weapons in Arena, I feel. Sick with Perpetual Flame? Yeah, that's true. 1 mana, destroy your whole opponent's board. 1 mana, kill the 1 big minion you didn't kill. Unlock all your mana crystals. Yeah, it's pretty nutty. I know there's the 1 mana discover a Battlecry spell, which I'm going to try to spam in Shaman coming back from Witchwood, I think, and Shudderwalk. So all I'm saying is my mind is racing, my head is spinning. I'm going to try to build a Battlecry, Shudderwalk, Auction House, Gavel style Shaman deck at least once, maybe 10 times. So keep that in mind. From the synergistic memester, I think that's a cool card. From that perspective. After you play a Battlecry, repeat the first Battlecry played this turn. After you play a Battlecry, do what? Oh, okay. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's a combo card. You gotta have a lot of mana. You can't play it on curve. Not a card you'll see often. Not a good card, but constructed card. If you can get this some synergy, it's probably fine. Discover 1-cost minion and summon it. Upgrade it for each overload card you played this game. I don't think it's a great card, but I think it's a fun card. If you can get enough overload, this card's gonna be awesome. Now remember, it counts each overload card you played, not each overloaded mana crystal, which would probably be broken. But the cards that overload 2 or 3 are usually bad, and the cards that overload you 1 are gonna be cool with this card. Because once you're summoning a 4-drop at some, if you can get it early enough, it's going to be good. If you can, in that mid game, if you're summoning a 5 or a 6, I just don't think you're going to be able to play that many overload cards thinking about it. Probably a terrible card, honestly, because until you overload 2, it's not playable. And even then, it's probably bad, and you'd have to overload 3 before it becomes good. So, probably not a good card. That being said, we have to take a look at what overload cards we have, and this one's pretty nutty. 4 mana, 6/4 lifesteal, overload 1. That's a great card. Good lord. Good luck racing Shaman. Goodbye Hunter decks if Shaman is viable. This card's huge. Overload 1 is not much. You could just play one of these into another one. Just stack them together. The 4 health is not great, but the 6 damage lifesteal is pretty crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I think the card's really good. I would guess Slogger is good. Reduce the cost of elementals in your hand and deck by 1. I cannot imagine this card is not absolutely bonkers. How? This is top 5, top 10, top 5. This has to be top 5 of cards we've seen. It's a Yeti elemental, which just matters. Your next one you play is discounted. They're in your hand, awesome. Who cares? They're in your deck. You're gonna draw them. Fire elemental. You just play fire elemental next turn. This card is insane. Oh man, it's like you're in that position where you're like, oh, I just wish I had a fire elemental in my hand when I played this. Well, it doesn't matter. You just top deck it next turn. Oh my days. A Yeti with a phenomenal upside. Phenomenal. And it is an elemental. It shouldn't be an elemental. The next one you play is going to cost 3. It's going to be a 3 mana 4/5. I mean, I love it. Just wait till the day that Nkoro gets, you know, mixed in with a meta where this is in. It's going to dunk people. It's cool, though. I like elementals. And yeah, maybe maybe people won't have elementals. Yeah, right. Of course they're going to have elementals. After you play a card with Overload, summon a 2/3 Wolf with Taunt. Stats are bad. The effect is good. If you can just start churning Overload cards, sure. I don't think it's going to be super strong. The times it goes off, it's going to be unanswerable. But I think those will be few and far between. Cool card, though. Cool card, for sure. Brothers, heed my call. Yeah, man, we're going to have that guy, whatever his name is. It's a cool card, too. Summon 4 random 5-cost minions. Make them all 2/2. So I think you have to hit at least 1 and probably 2, like Death Rattles, Divine Shields, some sort of effect. Because there's a Druid card that does the same thing as this, but you can give him Rush if you want, and that card's just okay. If you're getting, I don't know what 5-cost cards you can get, but if there's like a bad effect, then this is going to be bad to be in the pool. Yeah, you can evolve this stuff. It's a cool evolve card, but evolve's not in the meta, I don't believe. I think Bogspine Knuckles is rotating out for Arena. Looks fun. I would agree. I would guess this is more of a fun card that doesn't really play out as being a super strong Arena card. Unless, again, I think these cards you got to play with it a bit. You got to look at the entire pool. If you know, some smarty pants can calculate the odds of rolling, you know, a minion that spits out a 4-drop or whatever, then it's going to be pretty good. Again, I don't think broken. It's not the elemental we just looked at. Let's just put it that way. I don't think. It's fun to look at these cards before you play with them. I haven't done a review in a while. We're going to skip the quests because, again, I don't think they're in Arena. If the quests are in Arena, I'll do a separate video, just the quests. This card here, deal 2 damage to a minion. If it dies, restore 4 health. I think it's a good card. Yeah, that's a good card. That's a pretty good card. Yeah, that's a good card. Not broken, but I think it'll be good. And I might be wrong about some of this. Some of these might end up being broken. Whenever this attacks, deal 2 to your hero. You've got to be incentivized, I think, to want this card where you want to take the damage. I think there are some cards that want this, but I'm not so sure. It's a good stat line. The problem is it's just not going to die, and you're going to take a lot of damage. And pushing face with this is going to be mostly irrelevant. And, you know, are you going to be able to, like, do I have to hit a peon twice and take 4? I don't love this card. I've got to see something that wants me to take a bunch of damage in a, you know, for free. I'm not sold. 3 mana, give a minion +1/+1. When it dies, summon an Endless Dreadsteed, which I'm assuming is that 4 mana 1/1 card. I'm going to take a peek real here. Yeah, the old school card. Which is cool that it's a throwback to a card that actually existed, slightly rebranded with a hero's name or whatever. I think this one is worse than the Paladin one, worse than the Hunter one, probably worse than the Priest, and probably worse than the Druid. It's probably the worst one, but not a... this is a pretty bad. It's so slow. It's so slow. If the game goes 20 turns, you're going to be happy to have a million steeds, but I just don't think they'll go that long. That being said, I think this is the best of the Mithril Rods, which we looked at earlier. After you draw 4 cards, reduce the cost of the cards in your hand by 1. It's very expensive, and you only get 2 charges. I don't think it's good, because, again, you're investing so much time and so much mana, but 1 trigger from this is going to be backbreaking. That's so good. Remember the little Scorpion for Rogue? The card just wins games on 2 mana, so it's so much faster. But you don't have to really do anything. You're just going to draw 4 cards, and if you tap, you can get it faster. I would be surprised. I won't be surprised if this card ends up being better than it looks. I'm gonna try it out. I'm actually kind of like I'm on the fence about that card. Of all the, that'd be on the short list. Somebody go ahead and make a list of cards I don't know what the hell's going on with. I think this card is closer to I don't know what the hell's going on with than this is absolute dog crap. I think it's probably viable. Well, I think it could be viable. And some of the cards are straightforward, and everybody says, "Oh, this is gonna suck. It's gonna be good." I would take a chance on that card. I would. You have to play Backfire. It's so slow, it probably won't be good, but who knows how slow. I think this met's gonna be slower. I really do. I don't know why I think that, but I just do. Summon a Fiend with stats equal to your hand size. Not a good arena card. It's a constructed card. You got to get a 5/5 for this to be a viable arena card, which means you're probably skipping turn 2 and 3, which makes playing a 4-mana 5/5 as your first play not nearly as good. Or maybe it would be a 6/6 or a 7/7. The problem is you have to account for when you draw this card and your hand's empty and you're playing a 4-mana 0/0, or you're tapping and playing a 6-mana 1/1 that draws a card. Again, every card, if this is a 4-mana 10/10, yeah, it's great. I just don't think in Arena it'll be a particularly well-statted minion. With Doom's 2-drops, I don't know if it'd be slow. That's the fun of a rotation, right? You don't really know exactly what things are going to look like. This card I think is good. My dear friend Dreads kind of... his reaction was that it was going to be broken or really, really good. It was at least the impression I got from watching him. I did watch him talk about this when they were doing their reveals. I think it's good. It can go face. The 1/3s won't put a lot of pressure on your opponent, but they will provide a lot of problems for your opponent. Putting pressure on you or getting trades they want. I think it's a very good card. I just side more towards like above average than broken. I think it's good. Certainly. This card again, situational, 5-mana 4/4. If you buff 1 demon, it's good. If you buff 2 demons, it's broken. It having tradable will certainly make it playable, I would guess. The quality of demons have kind of skyrocketed in the last couple of expansions. Vile Fiend is rotating out, so you're not gonna have quite as many like premium cheap guys. I think actually the 2-mana 3/3, what is he called? Imprisoned Scrap Imp or whatever. I think Scrap Imp will be out, so you're not gonna have quite as many broken 2-drop demons. I know that. Unless, of course, the 2/5. Yeah, the 2/5 we just looked at is a 2-mana 2/5. Yeah, I mean, you're going to take a lot of damage if you keep that thing alive the entire game, and that might be fine. Stats mean more than damage to your opponent, to your hero's face. But there is a breaking point to how much damage you can take. But yeah, I think this card will be fine, just because of the tradable. If it didn't have tradable, I think it wouldn't be a very viable card. +1 if your hand is full. Constructed cards. You're never going to have a full hand in Arena. Basically unplayable in Arena, I think. Well, it's a 6-mana 8/6. I guess that stat line is playable, but underwhelming. It dies to Claw Machine, which I'm not sure if Claw Machine's still in, but that's a good... It dies to Fireball. If your 6-drop dies to Fireball, it's not a great 6-drop. Deal damage equal to your hand size to all other minions. I think this card's not great. The stats are too low. The effect is too narrow. We're getting another card back, I think, from Saviors, which was a 6-mana 3/3 Mage Elemental. It dealt 3 to all minions if you had played an elemental the turn before. It might be from a different set, but that card was underwhelming. I think this card is similar to that, but actually I think this card is worse. When your hand is small, it's crap. When it's really good and it's clearing the whole board, you're not left with a very impactful minion. Compare this to something like Abyssal Enforcer, a 7-mana 3/3 that deals 3 guaranteed to the whole side, all sides of the board, and also can deal face damage and leaves you with a 6/6. That's a premium card. This is a shit card. So get him out of my sight. We're gonna take a look at Warrior here. Choose a friendly minion. Enemy minions attack it. Oh, this card's great. I think this card's phenomenal too. Oh man, 0 mana tradable. Sign me up. This card might have to be nerfed. I don't know if this will get played in constructed. You just drop a poison, It's like a broomstick kind of that can be, you know, you don't want it, you can get rid of it. You play a big taunt, like you can play like a 4/10 taunt, force your opponent to trade into it before they can remove it. This card is nuts. I think this card's great. If this card didn't have tradable, I'd put it in that 2-card combo, situational. Sometimes it's gonna be awkward. This card is nuts. Scorpid. Yeah, even Scorpid won't be where this card's nutty. It's when you play a 4/6 taunt and have your opponents like 2/3 trade into it. I'm assuming they attack in the order that they played them, so their smaller minions will probably attack first. It's when you kill a 2/3, a 3/4, and then they're 6/4, and they all die to your 2-card combo. So you can have kind of like this targeted, like AOE. I don't know. It's a controlled hysteria. Yeah, it's funky. It's not always gonna work out, but if it costs a little bit of mana, it would be awkward. If it didn't have tradable, it would be sometimes, you know, unplayable. The fact that you're like, oh, I can't use this. Give me another card and draw your Brawl and then clear the whole board or whatever. Like, not hopefully you didn't draft Brawl, but if you did, I think this card's really good. A tradable is such a cool mechanic. It's going to be really good for Arena. It's going to be good for Hearthstone in general, but who cares about the other game modes, right? Deal 2 to a minion. If you control a pirate, deal 5. There are pirates. You're always going to have, you know, some pirates in the meta. You're not always going to have pirates in your deck. 1 mana, deal 2. Yeah, underwhelming. Sword and Board is still a playable card, and the armor doesn't always matter, so I think you can run this. When you deal 5, it's going to be really strong. So it's just how often can you deal 5, and I don't know yet. Devastate is coming back, which is 1 mana, deal 4 all the time to a damaged minion, which I think will be better than this. And you're probably not going to want to like triple up on Sword and Board Devastate in this, so not super impressed. Better constructed card where you can just use this as a taunt removal for a Pirate Warrior aggro deck maybe, or something like that. Battlecry, draw a pirate. Cool. 2 mana 2/2, just put a Sword Eater in your hand. I don't know if Sword Eater's still in, but that 4/5 rush minion is a pirate. This is a great card. Great. If you don't have any pirates, well, what are you doing, man? You didn't draft Pirate Warrior. Well, you didn't listen to Redbeard's YouTube. It's a great card. 2 mana 2/2 with humongous upside. At the end of your turn, gain 3 armor. I like this card too. Akin to that old Paladin elemental that lets you gain 3 life. But if you had full health, it was awful. This card's just gonna stack armor. I like this. It's not the stat line's not good enough to make this a broken card, but I think it's really interesting. The armor synergy cards are gonna benefit from this, and the hunters are gonna cry. You know, it's gonna negate a hunter hero power. You get 1 trigger, that's 2 hunter hero powers. You get 2 triggers, that's 3. That's nuts. And you don't have to invest much. I don't know, I like it. This card's awful. Even with tradable. Oh my god, this is the worst. This might be the worst card we've seen so far. Tradable, gain 8 armor. No thanks. Don't draft it. If you get it from a random effect, it could be alright, because sometimes you want to gain 8 or whatever, or just cycle it, but terrible card. Give your hero to attack this turn. Really cool. It's like a SI agent that doesn't have to combo. This is a really good card. And interesting also, you can stack it with the weapon. You're gonna have to take damage, but this is a really good pirate. This is a really good 3-drop. I'm fairly convinced that I will want that in my decks. Speaking of cards that I want in my deck, 4 mana 3/6 mech. After it takes damage, shuffle 2 golem parts into your deck. When drawn, you summon a 2/1 mech, which I'm assuming, again, before I take a look, that they're just 2/1s. There's no extra text, no rush, no nothing. But I mean, it's a reasonably statted minion with some upside. Now remember, it shuffles 2 into your deck for free 2/1s. I think this card's really good. Phenomenal. Premium. One of the top 10 cards probably we've seen. If your opponent just kills it, they deal 6, you still get 2 in your deck. If you're putting 4 of them into your deck instead of 2, 6, 8, how many can you put in your deck? You're just gonna be spitting out 2/1s for free. Og Merchants are gone. I think Combustion's out. It's so good, man. This card's good. Warrior and Mage. If I'm making an early prediction, Warrior and Mage, based off of offering rates, card pool, card quality, old sets that we've looked at a little bit earlier today, They're gonna be fun and they're gonna be good, I think, and I'm excited. Summon a minion from your deck, 6 mana, 6/2, bad card, horrific stat line, and anytime you draw, you get something less than a 5 drop or something, it's gonna be terrible. If you're gonna get lucky and pull a Troublemaker or Proto Drake or a I don't know, whatever, Ysera, Sleepy Dragon, if you're pulling an overstatted minion, it's great. But this dies to Ruined Orb. This dies to a 1 mana 2/1 rush. It's pretty bad. Dredge is trying to convince us this might be okay. No, if your card die, like, just if you're never sure about a card, just think, can my card die to a 1 mana 2/1? Can my card die to a backstab for 0 mana? Can my 6 drop? How much mana am I investing? 2? If my card is 2 mana, it can die to a 2 drop. You're like, alright, that's kind of reasonable. If it's 3 mana, it's got to do something more. If it's 4 mana, it's god awful. If it's 5 mana, I'm embarrassed for you for even having this discussion. If it's 6 mana, I literally want to spit onto my computer screen for somebody telling me that that's going to be a good card. It's not to say it's not going to win somebody a game somewhere. You play that, I'm going to spit on my computer every time. Willingly. Lothar, at the end of your turn, attack a random enemy. If it dies, gain +3/+3. Probably a good card. There are going to be times. Enemy minion, right? So it will never go face, which is good for design philosophy. Anytime it attacks something and kills it, it's phenomenal, right? You kill a 5/5, it becomes a 7/2, it becomes a 10/5. You've already got value. Your opponent has to deal with a gigantic minion. If your opponent has something on board, this can attack that it can't kill, that will kill it. You're probably so far behind it doesn't even matter. So this is probably just a really, really good card all the time. You can still go face on your turn. This? No. I mean, you can attack with it, sure, like any other minion. At the end of your turn, attack a random enemy minion. So it'll never hit your opponent's face. But you can attack, yeah, you can attack, and then it can attack again. But it won't hit the face twice. So it's not an Inquisitor, it's not a Troublemaker, which is good, because those are horribly designed cards that are incredibly overpowered. This is just a strong legendary with different implications. Kudos to Blizzard for not allowing this to go face. Would have made me upset. And now we're on to neutrals. So we're about to wrap it up. We'll go through these a little quicker because a lot of them are shit. I did take a brief look, and I know that. This will never be viable. I want it to be viable so badly. 7 of these have to die. And then this guy will gain... like 8 of them have to die? I don't know how many have to die. More than you'll ever get. But I want to build it. I'll never get to build it. And you can get the Sword of Truth, which you can't see quite. I'm blocking it a little bit. Here, okay, perfect. I ruined the YouTube video. Oh, God. But it's a 5/3. After your hero attacks, destroy your opponent's mana crystals, which is funny that it has 3 charges and 5 damage. Your opponent just will never have another mana crystal. They get 1 mana crystal for the rest of the game. Cool card. I can't wait to watch somebody play this in Constructed and make it work. And I hope when that happens that the opponent lets them swing it 3 times or whatever, but you never get to play it in Arena. It's still a funny card. I wish there was a way. 15 attack. 5 or 15? Sorry, it has 5 attack, 3 charges. Is it 15? Oh, my bad. Sorry, was I blocking it? Oh my god, I ruined my YouTube video. Hold on. We gotta do it justice. He has how much attack? The weapon has 15? 15, my bad. Sorry, I was blocking 15. So I guess you don't get to swing it. I hope somebody does get to swing it 3 times into somebody that's got 30 health and 50 armor or whatever. But yeah, my bad. I guess that's 15 attack. I'm sorry, chat's blowing me up. I'm like Dreads over here. I don't even know how the cards work. Anyway, funny card. Back to things that matter. Where am I? Am I in the wrong spot? Oh my god. My OCD. At the start of your turn, draw a card. It's going to be harder to kill without Aug Merchants. Once you draw 1 card, this card is really good. If it lives, it's really good. If you ever draw 2, this card's busted. I think this card's going to be really good. At the very least, I think this is a 1-drop that's going to force your opponent to play inefficiently. As a rogue, coin out a dagger to make sure that it dies, but then have an inefficient turn 2, maybe re-daggering. This card's really good. I hate that card already. Yeah, if the Aug Merchants were in, I wouldn't think this would be like a... Oh god, what are we doing? But without Aug Merchants, I think this card's going to be very good. It'll be a card you take all the time, pretty much. Very good 1-drop. Give a friendly minion taunt. Speaking of which, reasonable stat line, getting a friendly minion taunt. I think this is a reasonable card. I think you want to take this card of, you know, up again. You know, if it's close, this is probably going to end up good. Stat line not super strong, but effect is very good. This is the sort of card that I think will benefit better players, where you can take a free trade or push some damage, know when you want to taunt. You want to push face damage, force your opponent to go into a small minion, leaving your big minions. I think players are probably going to taunt big minions and give your opponent good trades, as opposed to like putting like a 1/1 Divine Shield, like an Argent Squire, and now you just made a problematic card that your opponent has to kind of, you know, deal with. Constructed card here. Whenever you trade, discover a card. If it's draftable, it'll be a fine card. River Croc with upside. I like it. I think it's a well-designed card. Good legendary or epic to have in the set where you're trying to incentivize people to try out the new mechanic. I think that's a cool card. Discover a mech. It costs 1 less. I think this card's good. I'm not sure if it's great. It's terrible on curve as a stat line. I don't know what mechs are going to be in. But cool card. I'll be drafting this, I think. Discover a card and it costs less. So you can play this, and on turn 3 you can play a 4-drop mech. Which if Shredder was in, this would be, you know, the chef's kiss. But there will be metas in which this will be a very, very good card. Dirigible is in? Yeah. So you could coin this out and then play Dirigible on 2, which gives you a 2-mana 3/2 Divine Shield. Or you can discount Dirigible and corrupt it really easily. I mean, there are going to be implications where this is a good card for sure. Again, this... a lot of the cards they've made in the last few sets, they'd make this a 2/3 and it would be a problem. Now it's a 1/2 and it seems interesting to me. And it interests me way more, and it makes me excited for potentially the future card design philosophy that they go by. Rather than overstatting cards and giving them good effects, they're understatting them again, and that's good. When you draw this, add a copy of it to your hand. 2-mana 2/3 taunt is totally fine. Nice art, he's grumpy. Eeyore, let's call him Eeyore. We call him the Form Poet. We call him Alez the Pack Mule, Cucumbered Pack Mule. I don't know. We'll come up with a good nickname for him. You know, he's a cranky pants. He don't want to deal with you guys, but you know what? He's carrying a bunch of boxes. He doesn't want to carry that. He's got, look at that. Oh my god, he's got a tiny. He's got a tiny little like toy, like octopus in there. What is that? Oh man, I like him. We'll have him in gold certainly. Decent card though. At the end of your turn, reduce the cost of a nature spell in your hand by 1. Really like this card too. River Croc with upside for not every class, but Shaman, Druid. I don't know what other classes might spit out a nature spell, but it becomes a really good spell, a really good creature in those classes. It's almost like a dual class card that other classes can play. I find it kind of interesting. I'm imagining it looks quite beautiful in gold as well. Nice colors. I like roses. I'm looking forward to it. We'll make that one in gold. The Rogue Poisons. There you go. It's a rogue card too. This card seems bad. 2-mana 3/2. Well, okay, that's not true actually. I'm too quick to jump the gun there. 2-mana 3/2, add a coin to your hand is really, really good. If your opponent can't quickly I think this card's good actually, now that I think about it. Your opponent has to kill it, and you get the value first. The type of effects we saw earlier, that, like the shark, your opponent gets the coin first, right? And then it's death rattle, you get 2. So you have to wait before you get the benefit, before you can like go over your opponent, which gives them the initiative to put stuff on board that you won't be able to react to. They get free trades. They kill you because they have extra mana. They get a fireball earlier or a puzzle box. I think this card you want to be apprehensive. I would put this again in that category of cards I'm not 100% sure of. But if I'm leaning towards one way or another, I think this card's probably going to be better than my initial poo-poo, as you just saw. It's mutual, so you're getting a fine stat line and you get the initiative of the coin. I think this card's going to be good. I think this card's going to be good and actually kind of feel bad a little bit, where your opponent's going first and they have a coin and you can't kill this, and then I don't know, they brew it back or they evolve it or whatever. Getting the coin first is great. Yeah, actually I almost feel like this card's a little problematic. Going first and exacerbating, is that a word? Magnifying the gap, you know, widening the gap between going first and second doesn't seem particularly healthy, but I think it'll actually be a pretty good card. Most surprising card so far, probably. And maybe it ends up sucking. This card's awesome. Strong. Again, understated. Discover effect. I love it. Fun cards that don't let you, you know, get a 1/3 poison at the same time. And discovering a spell that didn't start in your deck is really cool. Never had an effect like that. And particularly, I feel more interesting for Arena, where you're not sure what your deck's going to contain. So you're not really sure what you're going to get. Whereas if you're building a constructed deck, you're going to put in the, you know, whatever, the 5 best spells, and you're going to know about what you're not going to get ever. With Arena, you can draft this once, and you have some semblance of an idea of what it does. The next time you draft it, you have to rethink that whole philosophy. It's almost like they designed this card specifically for Arena. Am I right, guys? Maybe not, but it's a really cool card. I think it'll be fun. Stealth. Oh, wait, another SI7 card for Rogue, but it's a neutral card. Weird. Battlecry, the next card you draw costs 1 less. This card seems great. 2 mana, 2/2 Stealth seems playable. Stealth is a good effect. 2/2 Body is not great, but your opponent won't be able to free trade it, and you don't have to attack until you want to attack. And then again, when you're coining this on 2 into another 2, potentially drawing a 3, it's going to be phenomenal. When you're going first and playing this on 2 and drawing a 4 and playing a 4-drop on turn 3, and you still have your stealth minion, if your opponent plays a River Croc, I think this is really good. It actually makes a lot of those rogue cards probably more viable. You're going to probably look to draft that card. Everyone can draft it. Looks great. Yeah, that card looks great. Starts dormant. Dormant. Hate it. After you play 3 cards, this awakens. We almost got out of this. We almost got out of this dormant meta. It's going to be a few dormant cards. They're going to be annoying. It's an epic. If the epics are boosted, you might see it more often than you want. I don't think it's broken. I don't think it's as good as Vile Fiend, as silly as that is to say. It might be. I have to think about it. I'm not done with my thought yet, everybody. It's sort of like the Hunter one. It's just a ton of stats for a really small amount of mana, and that's just bad. I think that's bad for the game. I think it's bad for Arena, particularly. I think it's bad for Constructed, if it is a good card. I don't like this. If you're going, so let's say you're going second. Let's say you play a 1-drop. You play this on 2. If your curve is super cheap, you're just gonna steamroll people. If you play a 3 on 3 and then coin a 5, like you just have a shitload of stats. If you're going first, you play this on 2, you play a 3 or a 2 and a 1. It's still, I just don't like it. It's like when you draw it late, it's gonna do nothing, and you're just never gonna be able to awaken it. When you play it early and you have the coin or these cards that add coins to your hands, like you're just gonna be so far ahead. I hate it. Dormant means arrows can't hit you. Yeah, we learned that. I hate it. That's my least favorite card of the expansion so far. At the end of your turn, store a card from your deck. Death Rattle. Add the stored cards to your hand. I don't know. It's understated and a cool effect. I think this card's crazy. I think it's crazy. If the games go long enough and you can play this on turn 4, 5, 6, put a taunt up behind it or whatever, once you get 1 card, it's pretty good. 3 mana, 2, 3. You get 1 card no matter what, right? At the end of your turn, you get a random card from your deck. Death Rattle, draw it, basically. If you get 2 cards from this, it's crazy. It's going to be hard to get 2. If they make this card a 3/3, a 3/4, it's bonkers. As a 2/3, I think it's fun and interesting. The games where you can't answer it and then you do answer it and your opponent gets 7 cards, like what the hell? It's random? Yeah, it's gonna be I'm assuming a random card from your deck. I don't know, I'm assuming. Cool card. If you control a quest, discover a spell. I don't know if we'll even have that in Arena. Great card for the spell decks for constructed. If it's in Arena, it'll be, and the quests are in Arena, it's a great card because it's just a spider tank with upside. If it's ever in a meta where the side quests are in and it's draftable, it's gonna be really good. I'm not expecting to see that guy in Arena. Choose a dormant flight path and go. Choose a flight path and go dormant. So I don't remember what all of them do. I played with it when they released this early a little bit in duels. Not that I played duels, Arena main, you know what I'm talking about? But I did the fire quest and I had to play duels, and this was in one of PJ's lists, so I ran it. I think one of them is like dormant 5 turns, deal 10 damage to the board randomly. Your opponent's side of the board, face or enemies. It felt good. It felt like that was strong. If I'm mistaken, I'm sorry. I could look it up, but I'm not going to. But I think that was it. And then there were some other like smaller paths that were less impactful. It felt best to me. 12. It dealt 12. Okay. It deals 12. It just felt like, was it 5 turns though? Was it 5? 5 sounds like a lot. Alright, I'm gonna look him up. Or maybe chat will help me. I'll let chat help me, and then I'll talk about it after, whatever it does. But I think the most expensive flight path was probably viable enough to be playable in Arena. You gain 10 life in 3 turns? Yeah, that's not very good. That's used most. I don't think that'll be super strong in Arena. I don't think. In Constructed, when you're fighting against aggro decks, basically negating everything they do in the first few turns and then allowing you to have, access to cheap AoE, then yeah, it'll be good to gain life. But I think the AoE will be best for Arena, and I think it'll be good. Tradable Rush. Again, we've learned. I firmly believe the tradable mechanic will be very good for Arena. When you need to kill a peon on curve, it'll be great. When you draw it on turn 15 and you don't want a 3-drop, but you want to try to draw an 8 or a 9 or a 7, it'll be very good. Not broken, but good, healthy mechanic and card for Arena, I believe. Create a golden copy of a random card in your hand. Again, 3 mana, 2/3. You're going to be giving up something on the board to get some value in your hand. Cool card. Kind of looks like what I imagine Alez looks like on the weekends. I imagine he goes out looking pretty dapper. If you guys don't know him, he's in our Discord. He's kind of got an Alez kind of vibe to him. Fancy pants, a little pretentious, noble man. Alright, where are we at here? Choose a friendly beast. Shuffle 3 copies into your deck. Now remember, these aren't cast when drawn, so I don't think this is a very good card. It's a understated 3. You've really got to be shuffling some funky... I also don't know, do they cost 3? Does it say? I'm assuming that you're not shuffling in 3/3 copies of a 5-cost Teacher's Pet, right? It doesn't seem 100% clear to me, but... This looks like Redbeard. Yeah, finally, Blizzard's hooking Redbeard up with some support. But yeah, you're going to have a beast. You're going to have to want to shuffle a beast, which you probably don't even want to shuffle like a 2-drop beast into your deck. This card seems bad. I would stay away from it. Can only attack if you have at least 8 cards in your hand. Man, I'm gonna give this one 2 solid thumbs straight down. I gotta make a fart sound for that one. Worst card. 8 cards in my hand? If you got an Argos or something, maybe you'll be able to force your opponent to play. Man, the card sucks. This card's good. I saw this one. They released released this one early. They showed it in a picture of it or whatever. 3 mana, 3/4, totally cool. Battlecry, destroy your opponent's weapon. And it's a beast. This is a good card. And then tradable just kind of puts it over the top. Every deck can run this. I could see this being run in Constructed if any weapons are at all viable. It's like you're not getting a 2 mana 3/2. A 3 mana 3/4 is a lot better than a 2 mana 3/2. 11 out of 10. Yeah, it's a tech card at the end of the day for the weapons, but it's a spider tank with tradable. That is probably more impactful than the destroy your opponent's weapon, actually. Just like getting a reasonable stat line with tradable. You're not playing a 3/3 with rush, right? You're not playing a 3/3 with tradable. You're playing a spider tank on turn 17, you don't have to draw. Cool card. Strong. Battlecry, gain 1/1 for each other friendly minion you control. Probably not great. It's just, I mean, maybe. It's a 3-mana 3/4 if you've played a 2. A card that's probably a lot better when you're going first. I just think the kind of lower stat line is going to make it a little awkward. I think this card will be quite good. This one? Yeah, you might be right. Because if you're getting 2 minion buffs, a 3-mana 4/5 is insane. Yeah, this I might be. I'm changing my mind. Because even if you play this on like turn 5 and you don't want to trade it, you're gonna just be able to probably drop a peon and this, and that's just imagine if it was a spider tank. Then yeah, it's almost always gonna be a spider tank, huh? 3/4 stat line, and then a lot of the time it's gonna be better than that. Yeah, this is a good card. If you're ahead, you're good. Yeah, but you don't even have to be that far ahead. You can just be even, right? You just have 1 minion on board and it's fine. Or you can just play a minion before this. You could just play a spider tank, the Viper, and this, and then you're still playing a 3-mana 4/5 on turn 9, right? Like you're just dropping a bunch of stats, a bunch of cards, but a bunch of stats. This is a good card. I've changed my mind. That's a good card. At the start of your turn, at the end of your turn, reduce the cost of a card in your hand by 1, or increase it by 1 is, I believe, what that means. It doesn't say exactly. 50% chance to increase, I'm assuming, by 1. Not increase the discount, and did give you a 2-mana discount. The stat line's bad. The effect is bad. I mean, yeah, when you roll, it's gonna be good. Haha, Redbeard played a 7-mana corrupted clowns against you, but other times, anytime it increases the cost, if it was like a 4/4, maybe you'd be like, oh, okay, like sure, I'm getting an overstated minion and potential upside, potential downside, but it seems like it's 75% downside. Your terrible stat line mixed with your 50/50 to low roll. We found the trashiest ogre. Is that the trashiest ogre? Cheesemonger. Whenever, I like the name. Whenever your opponent casts a spell, add a random spell with the same cost. Add a random spell with the same cost. I think this is a good card. Reasonable stat line. Your opponent, wants to fireball it. Sure, I'm assuming, yeah, because it's whenever. So if they respond to it, you get the spell. They assassinate it. They fireball it. You're gonna get something, and you get a random 4-cost spell. So you're not getting a fireball, but maybe you're getting Hysteria. Cool card. Good card. I think it'll be good. It's statted well enough that, sometimes your opponent's going to have to use a 1-cost spell to do the 1 last damage. You're going to get a spell from it. And other times it's going to be an absolute menace. I like that card. This one, a little funky. Maybe the worst of the tradable cards so far. 4-mana 3/4 tradable. Spell damage spell damage +2. Yeah, I mean, yeah, when it works, it's gonna be cool again. But I think the stat line is gonna hamper this one from being something you want to take in most instances. Silence an enemy minion. Silence any minion. Sorry, not enemy. Tradable. I think this card's good. Again, silence. Viable silence seems to be back. The 1-mana priest spell in this card. I think this card's great. You can't really play it on curve, but again, it's got tradable. No tradable, this card stinks. Tradable, you just pitch it. You don't want it, it's fine. 2 damage is a lot, true. 2 damage is a lot. Cheap spells will dictate how good this card is, but But yeah, I think that that 4-drop silence is pretty good. Battlecry, restore health to your hero equal to your hand size. Terrible. This is like what's that card? Oh man, this is awful. This is god awful. Antique Healbot, is that what he's called? Some sort of heal bot. It heals you for 8 when you have 0 cards in hand. It's a 5-mana 3/3 and it's god awful. This is strictly worse. Strictly worse than Healbot. If you're saying that in 2021, you need to reassess what you're doing. I think this card will be good. I looked at this one. I wasn't 100%. The stat line is bad. 4-mana 3/3. It's pretty bad. But a random 3 cost is pretty big. I think this card is closer to Shredder than bad. I think this card is it's kind of like Shredder-like. Are we Are we... What does chat think? I'm going to move on to the next card. I think this card is closer to Shredder than bad. This card is good. Yeah. I think it... I don't want to say this, but I'm going to go on the record officially as saying I will not be surprised at all if this card ends up being better than Piloted Shredder, which is crazy because we're playing with Shredder right now and it's still good. And that card got printed in 2015 or 2016 and it's still good now. If it summons Shark, it's GG. Yeah, part of this, with that statement I made, I haven't looked at what can happen and what the low rolls are and what the high rolls are. What are the odds? Again, a feel it out type of card, but this card, high rolling, will win you the game. This card, low rolling, I'm not entirely convinced it loses you the game. You roll a 2/2, a Golden Scarab. Not great, but you're getting 5/5 worth of stats and a little bit of protection from removal, AoE. It's a weird card. I will not be surprised if that card ends up being comparable to Shredder at all. Adjacent minions get win free. I think it's a bad card. I mean, not a bad card. I think it's a bad card for Arena. It's a good card. It's just... There are games where this is going to push 12 damage on curve and develop a 5/5. I don't like it. This and that other Dormant card are probably my two least favorites. Even when you're not getting Wind Fury. I really hate this card. It's really, really good. It's going to win a lot of games. It's a 5-mana 5/5, which is not a great stat line, but it's not an unplayable stat line. And it's not a battle cry. It's just... This card is broken. It's not... it's a static effect. So you push 10 damage with whatever you have on board, or 12 or 14. It's going to be a lot of damage. And then you just play a rush minion in between, like a Direwolf. Like, you just play the rush minion... And then you free trade something and you kill something else. This card is dumb. I don't like it. I could see this actually, like, of all the cards, being an actual problem for Arena. It's a common neutral. Ugh, this card makes me sick. You play it with a Ram mount. Whatever you're doing this with, it's gonna be bad. I actually think of all the cards, this is one maybe we might have to beg Blizzard to, like, do something about, at least remove from Arena. I know that sounds silly, and I'd like to play with it. I'd like to see how common it is. I'd like to see the effect. But I think this is going to make Arena very, very unpleasant every time that card gets played. So, anyway, that's my stance on that. Make it a 4/4. It should be understated, and it should be maybe a battle cry. Certainly not a static effect. It's so good. It's so good, I could see that. I could actually see that being another nerf candidate for Constructed. We never really get nerfs for Arena or cards designed for Arena. Well, not never, but not in the same capacity. But I could see that card pushing some aggro decks over the edge. I think that card's a problem. This card's nuts. I don't know what it does, but I looked at it briefly. If you have 15 or less health, gain +2/+4 and taunt. The stat line is fine. Not premium. Oh, clearly not premium. Not so bad that you can't play it. But yeah, a 5-mana 6/10 taunt. Is that what am I counting that right? 5-mana 6/10 taunt, neutral card. Yuck. If I hadn't just complained about the last 5, I'd be complaining more about this. But I can't complain about everything. This card's gonna be very, very good. Anytime it goes off, it's gonna be nuts. When it doesn't, you can tempo it out, and it's not gonna cost you the game. So, again, not understated with a humongous effect. 5-mana 4/5 taunt, give adjacent minions +1/+1. Body's bad. Effect is slow. It's like an Argus, but they're not getting taunt too. It's gonna be just probably not a great card. A lot of the neutrals I think are not very good, for the record. This one, 6-mana 4/4, 2/0/5 castle walls with taunt. The card itself isn't good. The stats aren't good. The effect is kind of whatever. If it's a super greedy meta, if you've got an advantage on the board already, you have the 5/5 Wind Fury, but you can't quite kill him, and then you drop this. Like, it's a sort of card where, in and of itself, it's not great, but I could see it being good based off the meta, based off of what cards are in your deck. You know, I take it back. This card's going to be good because there's too much stats. It's like Spreading Plague, right? So Spreading Plague situationally developed a 3/15 taunt for you. And while it didn't put a lot of pressure on, it stopped your opponent from doing anything. All their 4/4s become obsolete. All their 3/6s just do nothing for the rest of the game. This card's going to be actually really good, I think, looking at it again. And it's like, yeah, you're only developing 4 power, but look at it as like a 4 mana, a 6 mana 4/14 taunt. Like, that's what you're getting. Your 4 power goes wherever you want. Your opponent's power goes nowhere. That card's good. It's bad? You think this card's bad? I doubt it's going to be bad. You're getting 2 0/5s with taunt. If you're ahead on board, then you just dictate all the trades for the next turn, or 2 probably. If you're behind, yeah, it's not great, but it's going to stall the game so much. It's annoying roadblock. Yeah, again, kind of a wonky card. It's an arena card, I think. I can't imagine. You'd have to have some really slow control-y decks to want to like take advantage of that. But in arena, it's going to be good, I think. I might be wrong. That card I could see being wrong about. You're paying 6 mana for a 4/4 worth of kind of card that can do anything on its own. But the 0/5 taunts will impact the game for sure. At the start, we talked about this, but I didn't talk about it in the YouTube video. At the start and end of each player's turn, draw a card. Crazy. Look at it this way, because at the end of your turn, you draw 1. At the start of their turn, you draw another. So it's a 6 mana 4/5 draw 2, no matter what, which is probably playable. Not super strong in and of itself, if that's all you ever got, but pretty reasonable. Your opponent has to kill it. If they don't kill it, at the end of their turn, you draw another one, right? And then at the start of your turn, you draw another. Bear with me. It's still alive. You don't trade it off. The end of your turn, you draw another card. And at the start of their turn, you draw a card. This card is 6 mana 4/5, draw 2 cards. If your opponent can't kill this card, you draw 6 cards, right? Am I crazy? It's neutral? This is neutral. Let me just do that one more time. Start and end of each player's turn. End of my turn, I draw 1. End of their turn, they draw 1. End of my turn, start of their turn. I'm up 2. They don't kill it, let's say. End of theirs, 3. Start of mine, 4. End of mine, 5. Start of theirs, 6. I've drawn 6 cards. This card is insane. Maddening. Could you, like, every day that somebody casts this against me and I go, oh, they got 2. I hope I get a card that can kill it. I don't have one. You don't draw it. Oh, God, they just drew 4. Instantaneously, you're going to know that they drew 6 cards from this card. It's a 10 out of 10. Absolutely bonkers. Yep, 2, maybe 6. Draw 3? No. It'll always be draw 2. It'll always be draw 2. And then the times they don't kill it, just that they don't kill it on their very first turn, being able to respond to it, it's a draw 6. Unless I want to trade it off, right? I don't want the cards, and I want to trade this into something else, then yeah, I'm going to draw 3, and I'm going to also have gotten value out of my minion impacting the board, which is already also kind of crazy. That card would be phenomenal. Here we go, Redbeard's favorite card of the set by and large, far and away. I will be crafting this in gold on day 1. I will be drafting this every time. It's in the tier of Yogg-Saron. We'll try it out a few times. Elise. Maybe not quite Elise. Come on, let's be real. Maybe not Yogg-Saron. It's in the tier of, what was that 8 mana 7/7 Elysiana? Like card that just impacts your entire deck, changes the scope of the game. I think it's going to be insanely good. I think. The pool of dragons is actually pretty small. I think you're going to be getting a lot of 3 mana Ysseras. I actually think this might be the best card in the set. I think it might break the game. I think it's the most fun card, and I'm going to draft it all the time. This is Rafaam with dragons. It doesn't change the minions in your hand, but it changes everything in your deck. I think this is the best card. The pool is very small. I want people to understand that. I looked briefly earlier. A lot of dragons are rotating out, and there are not a lot of cheap dragons in Saviors, Kobolds, or Rastakhan. There's just a few. And they're good. There's some good ones too. And you're going to have a lot of core dragons. Onyxia, Deathwing, Alexstrasza, Ysera. Put this in your deck. Put an Arcane Intellect in your deck. You have 7 mana. You draw 2 cards. You have 4 mana. You're going to get some funky 2 mana Yseras and 2 mana Alexstrazzas and 2 mana... Who knows? What? I don't know. Onyxia, you're going to blow the game out of the water. Ogre stats. Yeah, you're not... You get a body. You get a 6/7 on the board at the same time. It's not like you're playing an 8 mana or a 9 mana 7/7 Elysiana and you have to wait really, really long time and get a really understated minion. You're getting, in this day and age, a slightly understated 6-drop. And, like, how do you beat it? If you're not killing your opponent by 7 or 8 or 9, eventually somebody's going to draw a 2 mana Ysera or a 3 mana Ysera or 4 mana Ysera. This card is goddamn disgusting. Best card, broken, unbelievable. I'm going to draft it though. Taunt, Death Rattle, gain 8 armor. Kind of a cool card because you'll get the life gain no matter what, even if you're at full health. These type of cards have in Arena's history proven to be better than you'd think. The 8 mana 8/8 Death Rattle gain 8 health is coming back, and that used to be a good card. This is just an upgraded version. It's got the demon tag. You got taunt in and of itself. You gain 8 armor. It's really going to slow the game down. I think it'll be good. These cards have gotten better with Mind Control leaving, Polymorph leaving with the core set. I think Firework Elemental, correct me if I'm wrong, will be out. It'll be hard to kill this without, you know, throwing 2 minions in and your opponent gaining 8 life. So, and when you can't deal with it, it's going to be bonking people in the noggin. We got 2 more cards to look at. Legendary Varian, King of the Stormwind. It's been a little confusing, a little confusing. I think I'm still confused, but if I'm correct, draw a rush minion to gain rush. Repeat for taunt and divine shield. So if I'm not mistaken, if you have a rush, a taunt, and a divine shield, it will draw all 3 and it will gain all 3. If you only have a rush, you'll only draw rush and you'll only gain rush. I think this card's really good, right? Am I correct in that analysis? It's going to be very easy to get a rush. It's going to be very easy to get a taunt, and it's going to be hard for some decks to get a divine shield. And when you get all 3, this card will be phenomenal. When you don't get divine shield, it'll just be pretty dang good. An 8 mana 7/7 rush with taunt that draws you 2 cards will be good. Right? So I'll be surprised if it's not an 8 mana 7/7 rush taunt draw 2 almost every time. Certain classes are going to have a little bit harder time getting, you know, maybe a taunt. Rogue's not going to have any class taunts. Mage isn't going to have any class taunts. But the classes that do have class taunts are going to get even better minions, right? You're going to get some premium stuff. Fireworks in, it's Darkmoon Fair. Okay. Well, there will be ways to deal with giant 8/8s, I guess, which is good. I don't know what this card does. 10 mana, 5/4 rush. Wow. Costs 1 less for each other card in your hand. Terrible. I mean, come on. You've got to get this down to 4 mana before it is a playable card. And you won't be able to do that. So, big stinking thumbs down to end the review. You know, I don't think there's that many problematic cards. I think there's a few. We'll see how common they are. I think there's some really, really fun cards. I think there's actually overall some really interesting design. Understated discover effects. Tradable, I think, is going to be a brilliant mechanic. The old set's coming back means Jan'alai, Hero Power Mage is viable. A Puzzle Box of Yogg-Saron is going to be here for us, which is awesome. Warriors got Draconic Roar. We've got this Dragon Queen, our new Dragon Queen. Queen of the Arena. Lady Protester. My god. I'm going to craft it in golden. Thanks, everybody, for watching the Arena review or discussion. Yeah, it's just a discussion. We don't normally do them. So if you like it and you want to see it for, you know, the next rotation, maybe review the old sets coming back. Maybe it's fun to do this type of stuff instead of just playing Arena and losing to Arbor Up. So hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. I'll see you guys, you know, on the next video, on the next stream for my beloved Twitch viewers. And you know, let me just say that's